What? Fudge and Renekton. Name a more iconic duo. I will wait.
Well, I could name Blaber and Maokai, who almost got served up his first loss on the pick by NRG in their previous matchup, but they managed to turn it around. NRG is going to ban that pick away from him, so it's LeBlanc, Tristan, Maokai, banned out by NRG, Xayah, Azir, Poppy, banned out by C9, Kaisa, the first pick for C9 to the surprise of no one.
Absolutely, and I think that the Renekton hover was basically saying, I know what you're going to play. You know, he's expecting it to potentially go over to Dhokla. Dhokla has been playing a lot of it. No Yumi fans here today? Surprise!
Everyone's playing to the ground. EMENES also had the seat rest for himself. But the Kaisa this time around, instead of getting answered by the Ezreal, which FBI has been doing a lot, he's opted for that Zeri answer to it, which has become prominent as well. And if you pair that with the Rell here, the flexible Rell pick that could go into either hands, really like this 1-2 from NRG.
Yeah, but when I see Zeri, I'm always more inclined to feel like Rell has a higher probability of going in the jungle than she otherwise would, just because of Zeri's natural tendency to want to have a bodyguard, want to have a pocket pick in one of those enchanter types that unfortunately for her have fallen out of the meta. But we're going to see how NRG navigate that later on in the draft. C9 locking in the Sejuani for Blaber, locking in the Jayce alongside it.
So it's not the Trist, but it is a strong physical damage mid laner that is going to allow Berserker to play AP Kaisa down in that bot lane. The Rumble is going to show its face here once again. So going to be bringing, you know, potentially the need for some physical damage here from NRG. So I think if you're over on C9's side, you're maybe targeting some of the physical damage junglers, physical damage mid laners that could be popular here.
And the problem is, both of the main physical damage mid laners have been taken care of. Tristana banned and Jayce taken away here by Cloud9, so could get a little bit difficult there.
All right, Cassante banned out by NRG. Nocturne banned out by C9. They don't want to deal with that ability to shut the lights off, make it so you can't see when somebody's coming in for the flank, see if Rumble's approaching for a long-range equalizer or something like that.
And again, you know, you already have a lot of magic damage here with the Rumble. Zeri has quite a bit of magic damage as well, so just banning out those physical damage options. You can see Cassante and Jax both banned away there from Fudge. It's looking like a Renekton on 4 potentially for me from NRG, you know, based on these bans. So we have to see, is C9 concerned about it? They could ban out the Renekton here if they don't want to deal with it, you know, if they're worried about something getting swapped around. But, you know, we are expecting still the Rumble to be going top.
All right, it's Jax banned out by NRG. They do not want to give that over to Fudge. Ari, the final ban for C9, wanted to keep that away from Palafox. NRG hovering a Lulu. This is one of those traditional Zeri partners that I was talking about. Back when everything was all about enchanters, that's what you would see. But no, it's still an engaged support meta. They're going to pick up the Rakan. He does have some peeling capabilities, can apply some heals and shields, so does a little bit of both, but still heavily on the engage and one of Ignar's favorite champs.
Yeah, and that was one of the most sought after pairings here from the start of playoffs, the engaged potential, and you really need that CC to keep people on Rumble's ultimate, so you get the maximum effect out of that Rumble ultimate, that damage over time. Rell and Rakan serve that up perfectly.
So it is going to be Renekton coming in here. Nautilus would make a lot of sense. It is going to get locked in. Great pairing with the Kaisa through bot lane, gives you that guaranteed engage. Something you really do need against the Zeri. That point and click lockdown of the Nautilus ultimate could obviously be followed up by Shock Blast, by Sejuani ult, etc.
Yeah.
So it is going to give them a lot of power there, and we're just waiting to find out what the final pick here is going to be. You know, expecting it to be a Palafox pick here on 5. And he is going to need some physical damage. It's going to be the mid Lucian coming out here, unless they're going to do Zeri mid. Zeri mid just got played a little bit. EMENES actually played it, so there is potential, but I am expecting it to be Lucian mid and the Zeri bot. We'll see what Palafox wants to do, but he has been one of the guys that's played some of the ADs mid. Obviously, he's big on the Trist. When AP Kaisa was popular mid, that was also getting played. But the only person in LCS we've seen play Zeri mid was actually EMENES, his opponent.
Yeah, and ever since they changed Lucian's passive to be able to be procced by allies CCing opponents for you as well, it's really nice when you have a jungler like Rell that could come in, proc that for you. Actually have a lot of kill threat in addition to being a strong laner.
Yeah, this is really interesting. The Lucian just not something we're seeing, you know, very much of. It is a very aggressive pick. I do think you can match up pretty well against the Jayce, but I think it puts some pressure on NRG to get things done early. When you're looking at Lucian and Rumble as a combo, this is a duo I think that really does have some pressure.
All right, we're on the Rift for the first time today, and what I'm personally hoping is going to be 5 games. Yesterday was a very high-octane matchup in the semifinals. Hopefully the finals are going to be just as kill-heavy. NRG starting off with a 4-man invade in the topside jungle.
Yeah, Dhokla's trying to push Fudge back, so they don't actually have vision of the rest of them coming in. Dhokla's hoping that they are just assuming that it is just the one main invade for Vision. No one from Cloud9 is actually going to respond to it, but their goal was to bait Cloud9 to try to collapse, and they would be 4 stacked, excuse me, and try to look for a kill.
I love when these teams are playing around the expectations with these matchups. This draft is very volatile draft up here, especially for the top side of the map. So planning that level 1, getting that early vision so you know where Blaber is going, or at the very least, where he is starting.
And it is, in fact, going to be the Ignite here for Dhokla. He didn't swap away to TP at the last moment. But we have Gabby ready for the interview with Coach Thinkard.
Thank you so much, Azael. Thinkard, tell me, why did you decide to start the draft so creatively for game number 1 of the finals?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of throwing down the gauntlet. Insanity popularized Lucian into Jayce. You have a lot of early pressure. They still have some strong champions, but you can see kind of around the globe, Zeri rising in prio, so we're just going to try to see how it goes.
Lots of pressure on both of the junglers to make something happen with these picks as well. How is Contractz feeling once again going into the matchup against Blaber?
I mean, he's really confident. He's kind of in Blaber's head a little bit, so I'm expecting him to get some jungle advantages early.
Rent-free, as you said previously, right? We'll go ahead and see how things go in game number 1. Back to it.
All right, I want to highlight as well, a lot of the effort we're talking about that mid lane has been invested in here by Cloud9. Make sure that EMENES has vision on both sides very early, just to watch out for those possible Contractz level 3 ganks.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, they talked about Insanity popularizing this pick, which is interesting. You know, maybe more of a scrim thing that he's been playing a lot, but using that Lucian into the Jayce, it's going to be something that is really, really powerful in these early levels. So much of your lane bully power from Lucian, though, just counts on you hitting those piercing lights through the minions. You've got to be accurate with those. You've got to get those pokes down onto the Jayce.
Exactly. It's one of those unique spells where the range is extended significantly through the minions. It's one of the trading patterns that can allow him to deal with a champion like Jayce that would traditionally have that advantage.
Top.
But we might have a dive. Level 3 here in the top lane. Contractz coming in. Fudge is still only level 2 here on the Renekton. Contractz will look for the Shattering Strike, but he misses it. Crash down, gonna find the knock-up. Fudge is low. Blaber reinforces. Dhokla's gonna take the turret shot, and Fudge lives. Contractz wants to try to bring him down, but he cannot do it just yet. He tries to remount, but it will not work. Cloud9 outplays the dive. 2 for nothing.
Blaber was so quick to respond to that, but Contractz really messed up the dive. He pulled aggro and then stepped out of the turret range way too early, so the turret went over onto Dhokla and he couldn't finish the play.
Meanwhile, bottom side, a 2v2 breaks out as man 1v1. EMENES down to 150 HP. Shot blast misses point blank range, and Palafox survives.
Oh, the action continuing here. All 3 lanes going at it. But for NRG, that is a heartbreaker. You get flashbacks to game number 4 of yesterday with the devastating top lane action there, but we're going to have another look.
Contractz flash engage towards EMENES, who uses his own flash to escape it.
If you don't succeed, try again. Contractz going to keep going at it. Needs to keep staying aggressive. Can't get on that back foot just because the first play didn't work.
Yeah, is continuing to try, continuing to be patient here, and they've even brought Ignar over as well to go for him.
But look at the farm in jungle. When you spend this much time trying to make ganks happen, and you actually failed the execution on the top lane one, Blaber is so far ahead. He has actually been able to get all his camps down. EMENES in trouble.
Ignar goes in for the flash engage. Palafox with the Ardent Blaze gets energy on the board.
Send more men, and they finally take down EMENES. NRG does it, but they're in a gold deficit because of the jungle farm, because of the outplay on the top side there with the tower dive as well. Cloud9 have a very healthy lead, and it means Blaber now can go invade the bottom side of the map because Contractz spent so much time looking for these ganks on the Rell, and Blaber always prefers to have these farm-heavy routes. This Sejuani is going to get very, very fed very, very quickly.
That's the thing about Blaber. He's not just topping the charts in stats when it comes to kills and assists in the early game. He's also usually got gold advantages. He's got farm advantages. The man knows how to efficiently path around the jungle, and it means even slight mistakes can set you seriously behind.
Absolutely. He's just incredibly efficient, and efficiency is the name of the game for jungling, right? You know, his critics will say, all he does is 6 camp clears, but Palafox, we're going to have to pause this.
Yep, it's a 3v1 under the mid lane. The Arctic Charge isn't going to get it done just yet, but now EMENES can easily supply the damage. Zven ends up taking the kill, but the 3-man play from C9 gets the job done.
Beautifully done there by C9. even though Blaber, you know, he's not able to hit with the Q, the aggro is held by him on the turret, and everyone's able to finish off that kill onto Palafox. He was hugging the tower, trying to make it difficult to land those hooks, but it just didn't matter with the 3 men.
Yeah, exactly. Cloud9 say we can bring 3 mid as well, going for the dive. And the critical part about that dive for Cloud9, it's even higher value because so much of this minion wave dying at the tower right now. You see the pings even on the minion wave here. All those minions dropping away. Palafox losing out pretty heavily on that one. And there's going to be a CS deficit as well as the jungle in the mid lane here.
Oh, hook on bot side.
Yep, Zven gonna get knocked up into the air now as FBI tries to fire back. Berserker and Zven still pretty high on HP though. Ignar at about 60%. Zven still walking back all the way underneath the turret to disengage this as Contractz and Palafox both gonna rotate into the bot side river to start up the Drake. Remember yesterday we had a very early Drake focused series. It was Team Liquid largely that was driving it, but NRG are used to this Drake pace now.
There is a big minion wave building top right now, but I think it's a little bit too far pushed for Blaber to get up there for a top side play and answer. So Cloud9 just gonna push their turrets instead, gets 1 turret plate mid for EMENES in payment.
Man, this is a 2,000 gold lead, not even 7 minutes into the game. Absolutely massive at this point for C9, as NRG need to stop this bleeding and stop it yesterday.
I mean, when things go bad and you don't have teleport, it is so punishing, right? They failed the top lane dive, there's no TP on their rumble. The death on Palafox is when he had no TP as well, so you're gonna lose so many minions, you're gonna lose so much more than just that initial kill off of it. And Blaber getting the invade, already has level 6 now, you know, quite up on experience over Contractz. And now this could be a potential dive after he takes this camp away if they want. I mean, Fudge is 6, he's just gonna be basing though.
I mean, Blaber is living in the NRG jungle because Contractz has been so gank heavy. Their wards on bottom side, those have been there for several minutes already, and he's now taking away Krugs. This is a massive, massive gap at the moment.
Oh, and Blaber just slides on in for the dive here with a Glacial Prison, but it ain't enough damage to burst Dhokla down. Contractz ready to follow this one up, but they won't get anything back against C9. They'll simply save Dhokla's life. This is a miserable jungle experience for Contractz so far, 32 to 65 in farm. Blaber is doubling his output right now, as C9 will also secure themselves the topside Scuttle Crab, or will they? Contractz galloping in as Blaber secures it with the Arctic Assault. Fudge locked down, he's cold, and it's Dhokla grabbing the kill. NRG picking up a big one there, and they should be able to get the Rift Herald off the bat.
Yeah, really nice move there from NRG. They call up Ignar again. If bot lane's gonna be a farm lane, get active on the map, and he's doing just that with the level 6 Lucian power, but Cloud9 positioning it potentially contest.
C9 does not want to let him have it. Zven goes in immediately for the engage on Ignar. Last auto attack plus the ignite from Zven gets it done. It's the Herald secured by NRG, but now they gotta try to escape. Zven with the flash lockdown from the auto attack in the passive as the Dredge line finds Contractz for the follow-up. He turns it around with a crash down. C9 have gone too far. EMENES has to run as Palafox and EMENES try to square off. We'll see if Palafox can chase him down. The equalizer from Dhokla trying to provide the slow, but Fudge is back and he's ready. Palafox needs to get back over this wall. He wants to reduce the cooldowns, but he has to spend the flash. NRG are not going down without a fight.
I love it. Fight from both sides. Cloud9 wanted that fight 3v4 at the Rift Herald, immediately deleting Ignar, but NRG, they get the objective, they got that Rift Herald as well as some kills back for them, so they actually cut down on that Cloud9 gold lead, as well as having that pre-existing Mountain Dragon buff in their pockets, so they are still in this one. Let's take another look though. Zven with a beautiful snipe onto Ignar, and once that hook hit, he was basically dead. EMENES lands the shot, Blaber flashes in for the knockup on the Arctic Assault.
But watch Contractz, this 3-man Shattering Strike here. He catches all 3 as he gets hooked in, then just says, we're turning. He goes for the counter engage there. Dhokla is just cooking him on the rumble. A really nice turnaround. NRG needed something back. They're trying to be active on the map. They're trying to stay aggressive. It has really hurt the farm of Palafox, but he's been involved in every single kill.
Yeah, they've got to get scrappy. Also, nice instant level up there from Contractz. As soon as they got the kill, he got level 6, leveled the ability, used the ability to lock them in. for the extra kills. And Blaber's right back out on the warpath here. See what they can get done. That is an early Sunfire Cape and an extra crystal here. So the Sejuani will be very, very tanky. Blaber can force a lot of plays.
Yeah, it's Sunfire versus Bomby Cinder in the jungle. Absolutely massive gap right now.
Yeah, Blaber is actually more than the entire lead of his team. He's up about a 1,400 gold over Contractz right now, and Cloud9 is 1.3k ahead. So Blaber is the advantage. That does give you some hope for the other NRG members, though.
Yeah.
If they can fight when Blaber is not around, it could look good.
Oh, Glacial Prison with the miss. Shock Blast also not finding the target as Contractz wants to turn it around. Blaber's about to eat the entire culling. Palafox and Contractz, not enough damage to secure the kill. That's the advantage that Blaber had. He's tanky enough to live through those.
Exactly. When I say force plays, that's exactly what I mean. Even when they miss, he still goes for it. Has the extra health that he does survive, but Dhokla's attracted to the scent of blood.
He'll be looking for it. Herald summoned up in mid. They're just going to drop that one for the guaranteed plate money. I don't know if it'll get the full second plate. Not quite. Only that first one. A little bit more damage would be required, but Palafox does not want to overextend on this. NRG has been fighting back real hard to make sure that they stop C9 from just snowballing this early game.
And remember that this is Blaber's 300th game, and if Cloud9 and Blaber win this game, he will have the highest win percentage of any player in the LCS to start for the first 300 at 69%.
Yep, and passing
Nice.
Bjergsen with that if he does get the win. So we'll see if he's going to be able to do it. Absolutely would like to make that history here today, but Cloud9 obviously are focused on bigger things. They are looking to get their three-peat, become only the third team in LCS history to be able to make it happen.
Well, both of our marksmen in this game have their static shivs completed, so we're at the point where wave clear is not going to be that much of an issue down here in bottom side, as a teleport from EMENES to immediately join up lets me know that C9 is ready to challenge for the second Drake of the game. NRG forced the first one pretty early, but C9 do not want to allow them to stack. They know they have the advantage in open ground. Dhokla versus Fudge in the top lane. Fudge gets the 1v1. That's the Fudge domination in the top side that C9 wants to rely on, and it means there's no way for NRG to reinforce. C9 will take the Drake too.
Yeah, Fudge rushed a straight up mob Mount Mortius, and that makes all the difference. So effective in the 1v1. He knows with the TP advantages, Dhokla's going to be forced to answer him in a lot of these side lanes, and if he can pin him in the side lane in a disadvantageous matchup with that Maw, it is going to be so hard for Dhokla.
Actually so funny to see that shield pop up this early on into the game. Check inventory, and Fudge already rushing it for the 1v1, but he gets paid for it. Gets the kill, gets the solo right here.
Absolutely, and I mean, generally you do just see a pit stop for Hexdrinker, but he knows the power that he has with this. Goes in, stuns him up, slice, dice. He has the ulti popped here. There's the Maw proc, and the Maw proc also gives you that lifesteal as well, so it is incredibly powerful when it does proc. You know, this early on, it's already a 381 magic damage shield for Fudge, plus the 12% lifesteal that he's going to proc, and you're sitting on only 2k health. That's a tremendous amount.
Yeah. You normally expect a Hexdrinker. That's the big thing for me is, yeah, that's something you can play around. But the entire Maw, Fudge is in a great spot in this 1v1.
Yeah.
Dhokla's going to need more help. But the problem is, so does everybody on the side of NRG right now. Plus 2.3 thousand gold lead for C9. EMENES can just clear out the waves down here in the bottom lane. He's not in any real danger, as Berserker can see NRG clearing out that control ward placed down by C9 in the side river here. What is the next play for NRG to try to slow this down a little more?
I mean, I think they're just playing around right now Palafox, who is their strongest member, but FBI has also quietly become very strong. He's farming up a Storm. He's about 20 CS up on Berserker right now. When he gets his second item, when Palafox gets his second item, I think they're going to be looking to team fight pretty much nonstop. Dhokla will have level 11 by that point. That's the level 2 for the Equalizer, and you just look to group, you look to force 5v5s and try to catch out some of these squishier members like EMENES and Berserker.
And coming up pretty quickly here, we've got Rift Herald number 2 arriving, as are all 10 players.
Blaber goes in, Zven's ready to follow. Ignar zones away the carries of Cloud9, and Contractz barely escapes. Now EMENES in some danger as FBI is firing back. Palafox and Dhokla making their way down to the battle now as Palafox dashes over the wall. NRG chases Cloud9 back away. It's only EMENES who's seriously hurt in that, but it's Blaber's ulti spent. Zven and Berserker all dropping ults there. Ignar and FBI also trading theirs, but Contractz and Dhokla have that Rell and Rumble combo that is so devastating. C9 starting up the Rift Herald. NRG still ready to challenge, trying to move into the river. They're stuck on the ramp right now. Herald down to half HP. NRG still approaching. It's a 4v4. Contractz is not in the area just yet. The Herald's going to be secured by C9. Ignar dashing back over to his teammate. Blaber tries to get away. A nice engage with the grand entrance coming out from Ignar as they're calling again, finds Blaber. Sejuani with the flash back over the wall. He's going to live as Dhokla continues the chase. The ignite is on Zven. The flash for the follow, so Dhokla gets the kill. NRG will end up with the +1, but it's C9 taking the objective.
And if you go look at why they did that, it's because out of the little skirmish, even though there were no kills, they chunked down Contractz to only 200 HP. So Contractz went back to base. Cloud9 no. Even if he's sticking around for a possible smite steal, he's going to be low and it's going to be a free kill. So they rush down the objective. It does end up costing them one though.
Fudge already sitting in the bush with the dominance to charge up the rage. He knows Dhokla already spent the flash, but Dhokla with the slows from the Electro Harpoons can do enough to get away.
Exactly, those slows do stack. He was able to tag him with both the E's, so that gives him enough there to walk away with the scrap shield move speed. So nicely done there by Dhokla. Fudge wanted to get aggressive because he knew there's no equalizer on Dhokla. And if there's no equalizer on him, there's no ability whatsoever for him to fight back now against the Croc.
Man, this one is seriously getting out of hand
in trouble.
for NRG. We'll see if Palafox can keep himself out of harm's way here. All right, he's all right, he's all right. C9 with control over the bot side river right now, seeing if maybe NRG gets a little bit too curious about some of these patches of fog here on the map right now. No Drake for another 45 seconds or so, but that does mean it's about time to be setting up for things. Only one Drake so far for either team, so no immediate soul stacking effect just yet as EMENES and Zven clear out any of the vision NRG are placing down. They have brought all 5 players down here on NRG's side.
And Palafox had 1,200 gold in inventory, so he wanted to go get his base before this dragon, but he was on a ward, so I want to see if Cloud9 do anything. Currently, they just got the split push advantage with Fudge on top side. He's got his Unleashed teleport ready, so Renekton will get up to that top tower, force this wave in, minions start dying, get a bunch of extra damage, and be ready to join the fight.
And Palafox now is going to be the one who's going to have to answer side lanes against Fudge because there is no TP on Dhokla, so Dhokla is going to be forced to just kind of be grouped around those objectives whenever one is up. It also means there's less value from that Maw, obviously not a lot of magic damage dealt by the Lucian.
All right, Herald summon up mid, should have enough damage to knock down the turret on its own, I believe. Not quite, just barely missed it. FBI going in, forcing the flash on a Berserker, but now it's Ignar who might be in some trouble. Glacial Prison locked him down, but C9 didn't have the damage to follow it up just yet. NRG making their way back down into the bot side river for now.
Nice positioning there by Ignar to soak that Sejuani ult.
Really nice decision as well by FBI. Get this ultimate off, he gets the flash out of Berserker, but they're gonna still fight this one.
Contractz.
C9 thinking about the approach. They decide it's not worth it. They're gonna back away, and NRG will take their second Drake of the game.
NRG looking, see if they can catch anyone here. The tower's going to drop.
Not quite, the engage coming out from NRG. Zven's gonna be the target and he dies immediately. He drops the ult to try to do anything, but it won't do a thing. Nicely played.
They do get the tier 1 mid though, and they're pinging towards the tier 1 top, so it is Fudge just running straight up there. You can see that both Contractz and Palafox are moving to try to cover that turret. They don't want to give away even more gold, but I don't know, we'll see if they can actually say anything about it.
Palafox can move up in time. Piercing Light clears out the wave. Fudge will not be able to force it down just yet.
EMENES is here. He's going to try to play a little bit dumb. You know, Fudge is going to walk forward, maybe try to bait out this play because they did spot Contractz. So if they can get him to engage, it would be a really good 2v2 for C9.
But Contractz finding that ward, that then alerts them, okay, let's not go for this play. Cloud9 know I'm here. So if he extends, it's probably a bait and they don't want to take it.
They know that you know. That's the problem. So they're going to go ahead. Everybody's calling it off in top lane. Both sides became wise to what the other one was planning. Still a 3,000 gold lead. 19 minutes in for the side of C9. 6-6 in kills. 2-1 in Drake's favoring NRG. But it still feels like they're the ones always trying to respond to what C9's bringing to the table.
A couple of nice little tech choices here from C9. You can see it's Luden's second instead of the more common third for Berserker. This is basically him saying he doesn't think he's going to get a lot of auto attacks out. He's going to favor the poke in these situations. He's not going to be free hitting where the Nasher's going to have that additional value. And it's not anything complicated, but I love the locket from Zven. Against Rumble, you're always going to have tremendous value. There's so much AoE damage.
Exactly. Let's see how they group up for the next one here. Berserker with no flash as well has to be a lot more cautious.
Yes, sir.
FBI kind of taking matters into his own hands when he saw him mid trying to jump on him there, and you saw the burst damage possible with the Zeri ultimate with that static shift, so Let's see how Cloud9 play around it, because rightly so. We highlighted Berserker and have been doing so all summer long for Cloud9. It's been the biggest win condition for them.
And I just feel like already twice this game, we've seen situations where if Blaber wasn't as far ahead as he is, he would have died. He's eaten a couple different full channel cullings, but he's so far ahead of the curve of the game, it keeps him alive. And I feel like we're going to continue to see C9 playing around, just haphazardly throwing the piggy in the middle of the brawl because he's tanky enough to live through it. So for NRG, can you ever get to the point where you can actually burst through that? I feel like it's going to have to be up to FBI.
Yeah, I mean, I think FBI and Palafox are both going to be able to put out a tremendous amount of damage later on. You know, generally damage does start to kind of outpace the itemization of tanks as you get late on in the game. So I do think there will be that point, maybe not where they can just burst them, so to say,
right,
but they can definitely deal with them.
They can get slow burst.
Yeah. They're going to have high DPS. Between Zeri and Lucian, especially, you know, this is not like the old lethality Lucian where you're just your ult. This is going to be, you know, Kraken's layer into Quick Blades. He does a lot of DPS. If you're able to stay in the mix, that's just the X factor. That's the difficulty, because Lucian is pretty short range. So anytime you're stepping forward, you're exposing yourself to a potential engage from Cloud9.
Quick Blades Lucian is my favorite iteration of this champion because it gets your cooldown so low, you have to constantly be aware of every new spell that's coming up to sling, and that just, it's a ton of fun to watch if it's played to the maximum, but it's so hard to do.
It absolutely is, right? You're really riding that line. You're playing close to your opponents. You're trying to weave in these spells with autos perfectly, and you're trying to maximize that damage, and we'll see if he's going to be able to do it, because Palafox has been incredible throughout playoffs. You know, NRG, I think, is a team that really have felt overlooked and underrated. They didn't have a single person on All-Pro. They didn't win Coach of the Split. They're going up against a team that is all All-Pros, and they fought against and beaten teams that have tons of All-Pros. So I do think, you know, they're really trying to prove themselves and take their spot amongst the best in the league.
And especially with this being the mid lane matchup, you're talking about All-Pro. Everybody was looking at that saying, like, you know, EMENES got third All-Pro for mid. A lot of people thought Palafox should have deserved it.
Yeah.
What if not now is the best time to ever prove that notion right if you're on NRG?
Well, it's going to be a hard task for NRG because they are currently down over 3,000 gold in this game, and the Dragon is about to come up here, so they've sent EMENES to the top side with his teleport to be able to push out top side and join the fight.
And I think we're likely to see a big brawl over this Dragon. You know, NRG would like to move towards 3 Dragons here. You know, they have a lot of early power. The Zonias is likely going to be done for Dhokla if he has time to base. He has all the components to kind of hit that benchmark I was talking about earlier, where you have 2 items of both your ADs. You have that level 11 ulti here for Dhokla. And I think NRG are going to want to scrap, but we'll see if they can set it up. Because if Dhokla doesn't move down now, Cloud9 have double TP, and EMENES can TP down, so Dhokla needs to start moving.
I remember Berserker just wants to poke on this Kaisa build here, so he's just throwing out W after W Void Seekers here, trying to fish for some extra damage early on. And here comes EMENES. He's pushed up the top side, so he's come down for the Dragon. Double poke has arrived.
Yeah, this is a bit of a problem, but Dhokla has arrived. We're ready to go. Contractz goes in for the Shattering Strike. Again, they're going to focus on Zven.
Fudge is behind him.
Quickness, but Fudge is coming around from behind. Palafox is already dead. Can the Equalizer do anything? Contractz is about to burn. C9 getting roasted by the flames. Zeri! He's dead just yet. FBI might be ready to pop off. He's continuing to try to chase. Dhokla kills Fudge. FBI still looking, but C9 is not done yet. Contractz getting hit with a Void Seeker. EMENES coming in from the side. Contractz staying alive for now. Void Seeker on FBI. They go back in, but it's EMENES finding 2. Ignar has to disengage. FBI's been caught by Blaber. C9 is just better.
EMENES and Berserker pick them apart from behind. The poke behind them just dissects NRG, and they are actually going to go towards Baron here. Cloud9, they want to rush it down. Palafox will be up, but that's about it. Him and Ignar are the only hopes here for NRG, and Cloud9 can burn it down.
No vision, no chance for Palafox to do anything, so Cloud9 take the fight. They're going to get the Baron as well. They don't even make the pit stop at the Dragon. We'll see if NRG can take the consolation prize, but it's 24 minutes in, 7.6k gold lead, and Cloud9 just played this fight out so well. There was all these little things that made the difference. Really, the beginning of the fight is dictated by Fudge. Fudge, at the very top of your screen here, coming around on this angle, is able to find Palafox. He sets it all up, gets in on Palafox, flash, stun, that sets up the killer instinct. And then watch, you start thinking, hey, maybe Zeri can take over this fight. watch right here. This speed shrine made such a huge difference as the double Cloud9 members are able to get that move speed just barely out of auto range there. If that was a crab taken by NRG, I think FBI chases down and kills them both off.
Hold on, we're not done. Blaber's been caught, and finally, NRG can burn through him. A critical pick to slow down what Cloud9 would want to be doing with this Baron, but Fudge is split pushing in the top lane.
NRG have also picked up Dragon number 3 while we were in that replay, so they got an objective in trade as well. As you say, though, Fudge increases the gold lead, gets the top tower there for Cloud9. They are extremely rich, despite giving over Blaber's second death.
NRG just have to try to dig in and defend for the next 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's 4 turrets taken so far by C9, which means there's still 2 of those tier 2s up. Those can often be just brute force down once you have the Baron. And considering the amount of gold they're both worth, you do not want to yield those unless you absolutely have to.
And Cloud9 can continue playing through these side lanes, right? You know, especially if they can push up, get some more vision, it's going to make things a lot easier. NRG is really trying to defend vision in this section of the map. You know, you can see this area, they're trying to defend that kind of vision line over here, you know, at that spot to make it so it's difficult for EMENES to push up, take those towers, because Cloud9 has double TP. There's just the one on Palafox, so NRG is going to really have a difficult time answering a 1-3-1.
They certainly are going to have a difficult time. It's 3-item Kaisa. The Nashers has been finished by Berserker, so the poke damage here from Cloud9 is just brutal as they come over with the Baron buff. You can see they're not even going up to the tower. They're not even letting NRG have an opening to go for an engage on them, just poking them from the jungle from afar here. Baron buff constantly pushing up these waves to keep on the pressure.
And neither of these ADs have any lifesteal in their build. They have not been able to actually get towards a BT or anything like that, so they cannot shrug off this poke whatsoever, even if they have access to a minion wave.
Jayce Kaisa is so oppressive when they're ahead, just constantly having to play dodgeball with these projectiles. Plus 8.1 thousand gold now for C9, about 27 minutes into the game. 20 seconds remain on the Baron buff. They have one wave in mid that they might try to force down that tier 2 with. EMENES, though, getting caught, forced to use the stopwatch. Ignar just sitting on top of him with a quickness so they can guarantee the burst, but now C9 is ready to fight it back. Magnet Storm on 3 from Contractz. Fudge is locked down for now, but he makes his way into the fight, and FBI is going to be killed immediately. Fudge is still going forward. NRG falling back as the Glacial Prison explodes. Contractz with a crash down, back onto the Croc. Palafox wants to dash back and find some damage, but he can't do it. Ignar falls too. A triple kill to Berserker, and C9 are on the warpath.
I think Cloud9 might have just done it. They look like they want to try to push for the win here. We'll see if the Soul Laners of NRG can hold them off, or if Cloud9 are going to back up. They're moving for the end.
C9 are ready to try to end it right here. Palafox and Dhokla wanted to defend, but Palafox is immediately jumped on with the Lucian gone. C9 still have the ending of this game in their eyes. 1 minion left at the Nexus turrets. Dhokla again using the stasis with a flame spitter to buy enough time. He'll force them back and give NRG one last chance.
Yeah, Dhokla is going to save it for now with that Zhonya. Burns down the minion wave. But my goodness, the damage dealt by the 4 remaining members of Cloud9 is massive here. They take out EMENES from the very beginning of this fight. So NRG, they do use a lot. Ignar uses a full combo there to take him down. Contractz does get the initiation, but it's only on the front line. And as soon as Blaber tags FBI and that beefy Cloud9 front line gets right up to your carry, immediately Berserker ults in, takes care of business, chases them all down, and the Cloud9 front line being so tanky, allowing him so much space to work with and so much freedom to choose his moment to go in and chop them down is Cloud9's ticket inside the base.
Absolutely. I really liked how Berserker was very patient there, because I think a lot of players might have tried to push past Dhokla. You know, he was kind of zoned out of the initial fight, but he bided his time. He waited. They're communicating with Zven. Zven hits that death charge onto FBI. That applies to Plasma, lets him get in there and finish him off. So really smart, calm, cool, collected play from Berserker. Gets that triple kill, has a 4th item, and Cloud9 now on the march here, looking to try to put the finishing touches on what has been a dominant game number 1.
The Void Seeker, Void Staff combination. The magic penetration for that poke, very, very devastating. And with the bottom side inhibitor already down, Cloud9, they can just keep control of mid lane long enough for the dragon to spawn, go make sure that that dragon is gone. Take it for yourselves so that there's no big comeback mechanic for NRG, grabbing a soul and getting some objective bounty shutdown or anything. Then return to the siege and finish your business.
It's a Zeri moment or bust for NRG at this point. You either have FBI get a pentakill off of some crazy engage from Ignar and Contractz, or the game is just too far gone. A 10,000 gold lead is so much of a wall to have to punch through. 30 minutes into the game, C9 is going to grab their second Drake. They will prevent NRG from taking the soul. Baron spawns in 15 seconds. I would have to think that's going to be the call, and then just try to end the game from there. NRG are going to have one last shot, and that's it.
All right, here we go. They've got early vision control over Baron at the very least. Your other hope is getting a really big burst kill on someone. If they can brush camp somewhere for Cloud9. Right now they're looking at Fudge. He does have flash though, so that's a bit reaching.
Yeah. Fudge can get away from that one pretty easily. Ignar's got to rejoin with the rest of the team. He wants to try to look for some kind of a flank, but it's also so dangerous. If C9 spots him out, they can blow him up instantly.
Yeah, it is really, really difficult. I mean, you want to say go for Berserker, but he has Cleanse. You want to say go for EMENES, but he has Edge of Night. You know, there's a lot of tools here that are going to block that initial engage potentially, so it does make it that much more difficult. And Cloud9 are not going to allow NRG to bide their time. They're going to force their hand here and look for a turn potentially off of Baron.
Blaber's over the wall. Keep your eyes out for the Glacial Prison. Baron's still at 8,000 HP. Contractz jumps in with a crash down. Meanwhile, back in the base, the minions are tearing apart NRG's Nexus turrets. C9 just keeping him here right now, allowing those minions to go to work. They don't even have to worry about the Baron. Contractz trying to find something as EMENES misses the accelerated shot blast. The second Nexus turret is already half dead. C9 knows they just got to kite these guys around. Blaber and Fudge disengaging as NRG have now taken control over the Baron pit. Contractz goes in for the Magnet Storm. A lot of damage on Fudge, and Blaber's already dead. C9 looking to find their way back in as Berserker goes over the wall looking for FBI, but Dhokla's ready to turn it around. Palafox chased down with an F charge. EMENES is ready to clean them up, and the carries are already dead. C9 are going to win the fight. Their minions are going to win the game. They are going to take it. It's an ace for Blaber, a triple kill for EMENES, and Fudge will use his teleport to end this game off of it.
Pose for a picture, Fudge, because you've got the spotlight there with the minions at the Nexus. He finishes up his extra CS, and he's going to take game number one. 13,000 gold ahead for Cloud9, 32 minutes in.
It started with an attempted dive in top lane. It led to a jungle gap with a capital G, and Cloud9 never lost control.
And a deathless Berserker, 0 deaths, the only player in the whole game not to die. 606 on the Kaisa. Massive, massive stuff here from Cloud9 in the opener.
Yeah, Cloud9